New data shows a massive surge in poverty in the San Francisco Bay Area. Nearly 2 million residents are struggling to pay rent. What's behind all this? I think you know. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's watch this video.
A new report out today highlights growing poverty across the Bay Area.
After years of decline, we're seeing a drastic increase in the number of people living in poverty.
ABC 7 News reporter Suzanne Fawn here in studio live with us. The numbers and the reasons behind them, Suzanne, this is such a tough time for so many people.
Yeah, a lot of people are struggling. Now, these new numbers, Larry and Alma, indicate that more people across the Bay Area are struggling to make ends meet. Even people who work full-time are having trouble. The biggest increases in poverty are in San Francisco County. But some say there are critical steps out there to keep people out of poverty.
These numbers are a wake-up call.
New sobering numbers are out from nonprofit.
How many wake-up calls is San Francisco? How many wake-up calls is California gonna have? Is Oregon? Is Washington? How many wake-up calls? It's a wake-up call, guys. And everybody's just continues sleeping. They're in a fentanyl stupor, right? They're just
tipping point community based in San Francisco. Poverty is up all across the Bay Area.
Poverty has drastically increased after seeing major declines over the last 10 years.
According to Tipping Point, San Francisco County saw the largest jump in poverty rates in the Bay Area and now has the highest rate in the region at 17.5%. More than 1.8 million Bay Area residents, nearly 3 in 10 people, cannot cover basic needs. People we talk to say they know more people struggling to get by.
A lot of them are borrowing money before the end of the month.
Yep.
Then they pay it, and then by the time that their pay comes, they've already borrowed again. So it's like they never get ahead.
I know, we've had friends that have moved out of San Francisco proper into, other areas of California.
Tipping Point community says poverty rates are rising across nearly every demographic in the Bay Area.
Black poverty rates jumped from 15.8% to 22.1%. Even more staggering, Asian residents saw poverty rise nearly 50%. From 9.6 to 14.
Wow.
Tipping Point community leaders say one of the reasons wages aren't keeping up. Tipping Point also says it costs more just to live.
While the cost of living is up 46%. Since 2021
Sorry, what? Cost of living is up how much? 46%? Yeah, that's what you've got here. You've got incomes have not risen to meet expenses. And expenses in these cities have absolutely exploded. Rent, housing being the number one primary factor. But then you've got every other, and that's just because it's such a big component of everybody's budgets. You know, when you go in for a mortgage, they say, well, we'd like you to see a third of your income going towards housing. Way more than 30% of folks' housing, their income is going to housing in San Francisco in any of these big progressive cities. 50, 60% is not unheard of, which means it only leaves a little bit for all the rest of your expenses. All the rest of your expenses, like in California, gasoline for your car, food for your mouth. All of those things have exploded in price, and incomes just haven't risen to meet those. So this is nothing new, but now we're just identifying. We're literally watching in real time what progressive policy has done to quality of life in San Francisco. That's what this guy is talking about right here.
grocery prices have risen by 17%.
There you go.
Support is also being cut back, according to Tipping Point.
As a result of H.R. 1, we are expecting some of the deepest cuts to our social safety net in our history.
Tipping Point says there are ways to curb poverty in our communities. They include increasing affordable housing, expanding...
Okay. I am so effing tired of hearing about increasing affordable housing. It costs over $1 million in San Francisco to build 1 unit of housing, of this type of permanent affordable housing. Affordable housing. $1 million per unit is not affordable. That is just expensive housing. We need more expensive housing. You don't hear anybody ever say that, do you? But that's the reality. We need some more really expensive housing. Because you go to other parts of the country and ask them, hey, what do you get for $1 million in your community, in your neighborhood? What do you get for $1 million? And it is just this, it's a mansion. It's a palace. It's a real ranch. I mean, it's like, cowboy movies, and the movie's ranch, $1 million. But that's what it takes to produce 1 unit of housing in San Francisco. So, everything's just so wildly out of whack.
Childcare, investing in training and apprenticeship programs, and preserving safety net services.
If we fail to preserve the basic supports that keep people housed and fed, the impact will be truly devastating.
Tipping point.
So all that does is keep the cycle going, right? It just keeps the cycle going. Because what you've done is you haven't addressed the real root of what is driving up your costs, and that is progressive policy. So, what are you going to do about that? Oh, we're going to blame Trump's tariffs. We're going to blame federal cuts. We're going to blame, the cycle of the moon. We're going to blame the failure of the downtown core for lack of tax dollars. We're going to blame that. I mean, even though that is completely self-induced in so many different cases. So you got 2 million residents struggling to pay rent. I mean, it's pure insanity, and this isn't going anywhere but worse in real time. And you are watching that because the underlying fundamental causes for this poverty are that things are too expensive. Costs have risen too much because of overregulation. You've constricted the supply of land. You've made it too expensive to build. Everything's too expensive. You've driven out employers. Employers have said, too many taxes there, guys. We got to go. We got to leave. Businesses are leaving these cities in droves. Chicago is a perfect example of that right now. Yeah, it's East Garfield, neighborhood of East Garfield and North Lawndale. You're saying, I mean, those are some of the highest concentrations of Black population in Chicago. And what's happening is they are being absolutely taxed to like 133% increase in their taxes. And the other community had I think a 70-something% increase in taxes, horrific increase of taxes. And those are all the people that are at the lowest end of the socioeconomic rung, right? So many of them live below the poverty line. They make like $25,000 a year. That's average in these communities. And yet their taxes are going up the most because downtown has been hollowed out because everybody's leaving Chicago. Everybody's leaving Illinois. People are leaving San Francisco because they have to, because can't afford to live there. Businesses can't afford to run there. Don't want to run there. Can't turn a profit. Well, it's not that hard to figure out, but when you hear the excuses, the downtown core is empty. Like, no shit. Yeah, it is. Because again, similar policy. You let a bunch of Looney Tunes run around in the streets, then you have just layer after layer after layer of taxes. Businesses aren't, they don't want to deal with that type of environment. So, out we go. Number of people in the Bay Area living below the poverty line has exploded. It's according to new data released on Wednesday by Tipping Point Community. Tipping Point Community data establishes the poverty threshold at an annual wage of $28,000 for one adult, which is calculated using yada, 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 boring stuff, right? But put differently, 245,000 additional people in the Bay Area are now below the poverty line. 250,000 people like that. And that's why you're hearing these stories, because people are turning around going, God, I can't afford this. I'm not alone. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not alone. I go into the store. I was in 7-Eleven yesterday. 7-Eleven, like a couple of miles away from here. I really like that 7-Eleven. It's a good 7-Eleven. I give it a 7 out of 10. And I was looking for a protein shake. And I was looking for like one of the 42-gram protein shakes. And those are, they used to be like a couple of bucks. And now it's like closer to $6 for one protein shake. One damn protein shake. $6. And I thought to myself, I got a hard pass on that. I need to just take some scoops of protein from home, the dry protein, put it in a bag, and bring it to the office because I'm not paying $6. I am just literally becoming that old man who's like, when I was a child, we only paid $1 for a candy bar. Can you believe that? I'm becoming that man, right? I can't, I don't want to pay $12 for a meal at McDonald's on that one day where I'm like, screw it. I need some sodium. I need some chemicals. I need to get some of that in my system to make me feel bad because that's what I want right now. It's like $12 for one of those meals. And you're like, what happened? These numbers underscore the scale of the problem and the urgency to act. More families are being pushed into poverty because wages can't keep up with the Bay Area's skyrocketing cost of living. And it starts with housing, right? Starts with housing. That has been constricted. Nobody wants to build in San Francisco. It's one of the most complicated and time-consuming and expensive places in the world to build. One unit of permanent supportive housing, over $1 million. Over $1 million. I mean, it's absolutely nutty. So the Tipping Point, the organization, said that the rising trend is reversible and that it's doing its part by investing in system and policies that create lasting change. You know what? I am struggling mentally with anything that these communities, that these cities can do that really is going to have a positive impact on affordability. I don't think they can do it. I'm a real estate guy, right? I'm used to breaking down the costs of what goes into a home. New construction appraisal. Does this make sense? Does this make sense from a value standpoint for the lender to lend money and for the developer to do this? Does that make sense from that standpoint? Because among those efforts include clearing the way for public funding to build affordable housing. Well, when you're looking at $750 or $1 million per unit, you're not building affordable housing. You are building really expensive housing. And do you want to take taxpayers' dollars and just build a lot of really expensive housing and then have a whole bunch of drug addicts and homeless people move in? I mean, that's not exactly what I want to see done with my tax dollars, but you guys in San Francisco, you do what you want. Expanding access to childcare. How is expanding access to childcare really going to drive down the cost of living? The cost of childcare is XYZ because everything else is so damn expensive. The people that work in the childcare, they got to pay how much per gallon of gasoline? They got to pay how much in rent? They got to pay how much to feed themselves and their families? You know what I mean? So it's all inherent, right? Investing in training and apprenticeship programs that connect residents to quality jobs. But those jobs, at the end of the day, the wages aren't keeping up with expenses. Period. Full stop. I mean, we're going to get to it in a second here, but improving college completion rates for low-income students. Okay, I want to see everybody get an education. But more importantly, how about you push a whole bunch of these damn kids to go into the trades, become an electrician, become an effing plumber, become a HVAC dude, right? Or dudette, whatever. I don't really care, right? I mean, the whole thing is just a drywaller. I mean, how many homes are going to be rebuilt in, Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles alone? You go down there for your early 20s, you know what I mean? You live super frugally, you put a bunch of money away because those kids are going to be making some money. Yeah, you're not sitting behind a keyboard being a keyboard warrior, but you're rebuilding communities and, plumbing, electrical. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. Those are trades where people aren't going into. And the reason they don't want to go into those, because it's hard. It's hard work, right? I always watch those memes about, how different people within the trades roll up to the job site. Any one of those. I always find those really interesting. And increasing access to and preserving existing social safety net programs. Yeah, but by then it's too late. People have already fallen into those hard times. You're not really preventing anything. You are just stemming the bleeding, a little bit. You're putting a little bit of a compress on there. Hey, this guy's bleeding out. Come bring some bandages. Can you hold him for a while to the till the EMT gets here. Altogether, these efforts aim to ensure that we not only respond to the urgency of rising poverty now, but invest in the system's level work that prevents poverty before it begins. I'm not sure you have tools in the toolbox to do that. I honestly don't think you do. You're too far out there. $100,000 is low income in San Francisco, according to a report. $100K. This is what I was alluding to earlier. $100K. $100K. When I was in high school, that was the goal, right? That was the goal. Hey, let's get jobs and make us $100K because then we'll live like kings. Yeah, 200 would be better. 200, we'd be on easy street because you can put a bunch of money aside. You're going to be able to provide for your retirement. You're going to be able to have a handful of kids. Wife won't have to work. Yeah, it's Narnia. But, that's when homes in Bellevue cost $150,000. $100,000. When I started off appraising in my late teens, early 20s, I saw homes go for well under $100,000 to boom. Had all these people from California coming up, and it just pushed housing up. 100,000 low income in San Fran. Okay. That is not, that's not sustainable because you've got a whole bunch of jobs out there like working at effing Starbucks, right? And that's where I have a real tough time with that Starbucks strike because that's not meant to be a job where you support your family. Pouring coffee. No, it's just not. It's meant for college kids. It's meant for people's first job, getting going, and then you work your way up. And if you can't pay your rent with that in San Francisco, you got two options. Number one, you move. Number two, you get a higher paying job, period. There's just no other jacking around with that equation, right? Well, we should all, housing is a God-given right, and no, it's a pay to play. This is capitalism. It's pay to play. And if you can't pay, you don't play. Out you go. Unfortunately, that's the way this system goes. And, at the end of the day, that's how it works because you end up being homeless. So where do you want to fit within that equation? And that's the tough rub right now because there's so many people who don't have a skill set to make more money. And yet, like in Chicago, their taxes are going through the roof. 133% increase? Are you kidding me? Where are they supposed to come up with that? I mean, I'm seeing tax statements on homes that are not worth that much money that are over $10,000 annually. I'm like, good Lord, what are you getting for that? Are you getting gold streets? I mean, what are you getting for that? Are you getting platinum stop signs? No, you're just getting a whole bunch of social services paid for, and you got to pay for the criminal illegals because let's go Brandon Johnson. He decided, well, this is what we're doing in Sanctuary City. Why California gas prices are the highest in America? California's gas prices and regulatory costs alone account for more than $1.30 per gallon, nearly double the national average. Same thing here in Washington State. We go neck and neck with California on gas prices, and it's because of policy that we've applied to these things. California's gas prices, I mean, what a debacle. They're trying to go all green. I watched a clip the other day where they were totally making fun of Biden when Biden during I think it was the last State of the Union address, and he indicated, we're going to be dependent upon oil for at least another decade. And everybody just starts giggling like, you moron. California tried to push out, big oil just because they wanted to virtue signal that, we are so green. We're so clean. We're so good for the environment. And it impacted those who have the least amount of money the most because they got to pay really high gas prices. And it's still going on. So, and the list just keeps going on. There's a reason the homeless flock to San Francisco because of progressive policy that has failed, which is housing first. And then, harm reduction. You give them all this stuff and you build it and they will come. You've built it in San Francisco. You've built it in Portland. You've built it in Seattle. And now you've got budgets that are absolutely slashed and are being slashed because you've got huge deficits and you're looking around going, well, we need XYZ to house all these people. No can do. Don't have any mental institutions. Have very few spots open in drug treatment to get people clean. Plus, we don't mandate that. So you just got a bunch of Looney Tunes running around on the streets, and then they can't work out why there's no businesses downtown. On top of all this taxation and regulation that you just shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. Doesn't need to be there. But in order to pay for all these social policies, it has to be there. So, you know, keep voting blue. I think it's going to work out. Keep voting blue. Keep voting for socialists because it's going to work out sometime, right? I mean, isn't that the idea that socialism has never worked, but it's because we haven't thrown enough money at it and we just haven't tested it for long enough periods of time? That's what I keep hearing. Is that not true? Oh, it's not? Weird. All right. Well, I mean, anyway, Seattle just, elected a socialist mayor. We'll have to see how that goes. Podcasts for days, weeks, months, and years. The reason the homeless flock to San Francisco is because they built a massive homeless industrial complex. Period. You funded it. They recognized, hey, I can move to San Francisco. They'll take care of me. I can poop on the sidewalk at will. California leads the nation in this poverty measure, and San Francisco's is even higher. The list just keeps going. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on and on. They're taking out billboards in California pointing out these exact economic bullet points. And you know what's funny? Is Democrats will still vote for Gavin Newsom. How's that going to go? Hey, we're number one in poverty levels, number one in homelessness, number one in food costs, number one in gasoline costs, number one in But let's go ahead and vote for the guy who's been in politics the longest and has probably had the most negative impact on California. Let's go ahead and put him in charge of all the other states. Should be fine, right? Should be fine. And the only reason California has the economy that it does because the number of people that live there. Right? You got millions of people there. You built it, all the people came, just like the homeless industrial complex, and now you've literally got this kind of decaying ecosystem. We haven't even talked about the roads in California, the infrastructure on utilities and all that. All of those need massive, massive amounts of work and massive amounts of money that isn't there because tax dollars have been bled out to all this, ridiculous ecology nonsense, environmental nonsense, stuff like, the criminal illegals just, battling ICE. You got to feed all the illegals. We'll take in millions. This is the greatest thing ever. It's wild stuff. We are watching this in real time kind of explode into the consciousness with all of these, number one, and Washington State, no different. Washington State is one of the least desirable places to open a new business. Seattle, terrible place to open a new business. And one of the hardest places to keep a business going. Portland, Oregon, number one in least desired. No, actually, it's number two. Out of 81 cities, Portland was number 80 in desirability of investing in real estate. 80 out of 81 desirability of investing in real estate because of progressive ideology that has come to fruition. Here you are. How's that working out for you? We're just going to keep voting blue because eventually this will work out. Eventually this will work. Huh. What position out of 81 were you? 80? God, that is almost last. Almost last. But let's go ahead and just, keep voting Democrats into office because I'm sure at some point in time, you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And at some point in time, you're going to get a different result, right? Even though all the other times, you don't. What's that the definition of again? I forget. Yeah. Anyway. That's it for me. These stories are gonna keep on a going because there is no ending in sight. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again for joining. Bye for now.